It is now 7:05, and I'm just going to get started. As people come in, they'll be able to catch up on the conversation, and if not, then it'll just be us talking to one another. So, my name is Kiana. As stated earlier, I am the creator of the group Financial Freedom Savers. I am also the owner of Inspiring Financial Freedom. Again, the reason behind this group was to essentially cultivate something that gives community as well as essence and knowledge in regards to financial literacy, financial education, and just kind of like touching bases with also creating challenges within the group to see, how we could be supportive of one another and help each other throughout our times, things of that nature. So as the group continues to grow, as I continue to post more, get more interaction, there'll be more things warranted and given throughout. But right now, we're just kind of getting back started, wanting to kind of like touch bases, get conversation started within a group again. So from here on out, you'll see question of the day or daily questions in regards to finances, things about what you may have learned about yourself, what are some goals, what are some things that you've picked up over the course of time, just different conversations to kind of see where you are financially, where your mindset is, and also it also gives a way for individuals within a group to be able to pick up and learn from one another. The question that I posed, I believe yesterday, was kind of like, what's one thing that you used to feel guilty about that you no longer feel guilty about? For me personally, it was about going handle my maintenance, which consists of possibly getting my nails done, my feet done, my lady maintenance, my hair done, things of that nature. At first, because it's not considered a need, it was like, I don't have, the money for it, or I may not be able to fit it into my budget necessarily. However, whenever you've taken the time to review your budget accordingly, some of the things that you may not see as a need, but you feel you may want them for yourself or whatever, to make you feel good or make you just feel better, you can still find ways to fit them into your budget so that you don't feel guilty about spending that money. As long as you're taking care of the things that you need to beforehand, by all means, have fun with your money in an appropriate manner. So today's topic, also caveat, every Thursday I'll be going live with a new topic. The questions of the week between Monday and Wednesday, as well as questions on Friday, will typically lead up to the topic of the week. So if there's anything that you'd like to particularly talk about on that Thursday, please be sure to just note it in any of the comments, and I'll possibly mention it during the live session, or maybe have a conversation with you on that particular post in question. So today's topic, most of us are typically managing money based on stories that we've heard or we didn't choose, or just kind of like the lifestyle that we've grown up in to kind of get us to where we are. So today's topic is, what is a money story, or what's your money story? Like, what is your relationship with money? How did you get there? What were some of the things that caused you to have some of the financial principles and understandings that you have today? What are those things? And I guess obviously I'll be the one to go over mine. Some of the things that I could think of are, money's always tight. There's not enough money for this, there's not enough money for that. If I have it, I should spend it. Meaning, like, as soon as you get money, it's quick to go because you have hot hands, not wanting to preserve the money that you have in the moment because you have a scarcity mindset. You either want to spend it because you're not used to having it, or you don't want to spend it because you're not used to having it. So scarcity mindset can work either way, to where when you receive money, it's always quick to go because you're not used to having money. Like, money wasn't something that you had, so every time that you get access to it, you tend to use it. Or there's the reverse scarcity mindset, to where whenever you do have money, you're scared to lose it. So you're typically not as quick to spend it. However, you may not, do those things that you want to do for yourself. You may not go get your nails done because you're like, oh, well, if I spend that $25 on my nails, then I'm not going to have the $25 and I can use it for something else. So it's kind of like one of those things to where, not sure, not going to get it, not going to do it. And it can sometimes make you feel like a little off kilter, off edge sometimes, because you're not able to spend how you want to because you have this mindset. Rich people are greedy, and I believe society has allowed us to believe and think that way, that rich people are greedy, and I believe that rich people have worked for their money. Granted, there are some ways that they are indeed greedy and that they do utilize their money in ways possible that the masses haven't been able to understand in certain aspects. However, I don't say that they're greedy. I just think that they're knowledgeable and have been able to cheat and manipulate the system to work in their favor, which I believe if we all have the capability of doing, we'd be greedy too. So some money stories, and I can say for me, my personal money story was just that I've never went without. So in my mindset, I believe that I can do what I want to do with my money as long as I have it there. I grew up in a semi-single parent household. My mom worked very hard. She at least kept 2 jobs, give or take, with a business or so on the side as well. So money was never necessarily a problem or an issue, or I never felt the lack if there ever was one. So for me, I grew up with a pretty healthy relationship with money. I started working at the age of 16, and literally when I started working, my money was my money, meaning I was responsible for everything that I needed. So when it came to clothes, going back to school, when it came to extracurricular activities, like things like that, I kind of became responsible for. If it was a big ticket item, my mom would help me a little bit. However, I was responsible for the most part. As well, whenever it came to prom, I paid for my prom dress. I went to I think I went to a prom literally almost every year from 10th to 11th grade, and even in 12th I went to 2 proms. So I had to be responsible for paying for those dresses because I was working and I had to, take on that financial responsibility of taking care of myself. So at an early on age, I can say I was able to not necessarily set a budget because I wasn't budgeting, but I did know that I had expenses that I needed to take care of. I had a car at the time, so if I needed gas, that was my responsibility. If I wanted to eat out, that was my responsibility. If I wanted to go somewhere with my friends or do anything like that, that was my responsibility. So while I never had a bad relationship with money because I grew up typically having money around, it was also the idea that I'm now responsible for my own money. So I had to make those decisions of how do I spend this? I don't want to be without, because if I stop working, what do I do? How does that look? What does that look like? How does that feel? And so it all becomes kind of one of those mindset things of kind of, I'm working now, so I have to have money for these things that I want now and in the future. And honestly, it didn't take until me coming or going to college and talking to my friends about budgeting and saving and spending money that I was like, wow, it's so many of us young individuals, young adults, young college students who had no idea how to spend money or how to budget their money. And it took me actually kind of sitting down and talking with my mom dang, thank you for giving me some type of understanding of what money is and how to manage it, because now I get to have these conversations with my friends. So oftentimes I was the friend that's well, let's budget. Let's create a budget. What are you bringing in? What bills you have to pay? Things of that nature. And I mean, granted, some of my friends live on campus, so their tuition paid for their rent. But for me, I didn't necessarily live on campus, so I had to pay bills. From sophomore year until freaking now, I've been living on my own essentially. So a bill had to be paid, so I had to be able to ensure that the money that I made was enough to cover that. And not having the appropriate financial mindset could have dwindled that fast by me coming from being a college student my freshman year to not having to pay any bills, to freshman summer having to pay rent, pay light bill, pay electricity, pay water, and still be able to manage going to school and everything else. So I think that my personal foundation of how I understood money, and that there was not a lack of money, but also how to best spend my money, was also very beneficial, because if I didn't have that aspect or that understanding, then I may not have been as ready. Even though I was thrown into the situation at the time, I don't think that I've been ready for it. So now I can say that thanks to my mom being the way that she was and seeing her manage and handle money appropriately, it allowed me to have that mindset of handling things appropriately. So now I can say that I do what I want essentially, and I believe if you seen my life or my lifestyle or whatever, it kind of indicates that as well. That I get business handled. I'm a saver by nature. I ensure that all of my bills are paid before having fun or doing those fun things. And I still make time to do those fun things. And I believe that's the one thing that a lot of people don't actually take the time to do, is to get their finances in order so that they can still enjoy their fun. Now, don't get me wrong, I've definitely racked up some debt before. I'm currently in the process of becoming debt free. I have like one credit card left and one personal loan to pay off, and by the grace of God, that'll be paid off by April. However, but also having those cycles of learning how to kind of like fall into debt so that I could pay it off. Or I'll never forget, I was probably 18, 19, and just bought furniture. Didn't even know how to buy furniture, y'all, but just bought some furniture, and the furniture company every 6 months would send me a new check. And I had no money like that. So if you sending me $1,000 check every week, every 6 weeks or 6 months, excuse me, I want cash that. I don't got $1,000 just laying around. I knew how to manage the money that I was receiving, but I had never just had like that surplus of money to just be able to spend freely. So I wasn't being completely oblivious with it. I was stocking up like household essentials, groceries, things of that nature, so that I wasn't like in a lackluster mindset, so that I didn't have it. So when the time came, like, I didn't need new house supplies or anything like that. So I want to say for about 2 years, I was consistently getting those checks. And then after like the third or fourth check, I was like, okay, I'm paying these people double the money, but they're only giving me $1,200, $1,300, and I'm paying them back like dang near 16, 17, 18, dang near $2,000 on the $1,200 that I borrowed. So after a while, I was like, okay, I gotta stop doing this. So I finally had paid off the last one, and I was like, cool, like, I can't be into debt anymore. And then I got into this fixation with credit cards, where I always wanted a new credit card. And I don't know where it came from or how it came about, quite frankly, but I just kept applying for credit cards, and my credit limits were pretty good because I had pretty decent credit. Like, I paid everything back. It was just that some of my balances were, relatively high, but I paid everything back. So in hindsight, I had a perfect payment history, and nobody was like mad at my payment history. They was like, let's give you more money. So I want to say for like 2 years after my check cashing process, I then went on to like applying for credit cards, and to this day I believe I have about 9 credit cards. I don't utilize them all, however I have them if I need them, and I believe that's the blanket source of it for me now. Like, I've learned how to manage and utilize them correctly so that I'm not going ape crazy with having a credit card. However, that was also something that I had to learn. It wasn't a money habit that I was taught or brought into, because my mom did, by the grace of God, have me as her authorized user when I was in high school, gave me the card for probably all of 2 weeks, and I spent like $200 on it. She immediately snatched that card from me, and I had never seen the card again, quite frankly. However, it was a learning moment because I didn't have $200 to pay her back. So it was like, where you get the audacity to go spend $200 that you don't have, and then how are you going to get it back to me? Like, that was an in case card or an emergency card. I didn't see it that way as a 16-year-old, because that's $200 I didn't have, and this had the money on it to utilize. So when I did first begin utilizing credit cards, I used them in that same manner of, I don't have it, and this has the money on it, so let me use it. Now I am well knowledgeable and very understanding of, like, that's not how it works, and that's not how it should work. Most people do utilize them in those ways. However, it's best that if you don't have the money now, are you gonna have it within 30 days to pay that credit card off? Possibly not. And I'm not saying not to use credit cards at all, or that they're not going to be beneficial, or that they're not helpful, because by all means, I still very much use my credit cards. However, I have a different process of utilizing them now, which is something I can share with you guys later if you want more information on that. However, that was a part of my money story, and learning how to healthily use credit cards, how to stop utilizing those payday loan checks because they were accessible and available. Likewise with credit cards, I don't use them just because they're available or just because I have access to them. Yes, I have 9 of them, but I'm not going around swiping all 9 credit cards, and all 9 credit cards do not have a balance on them currently. by the grace of God, we have been able to get all of that down and out of the way. However, I say all of that to say so many things over life can shape your money story and how you see money, how you utilize money, and how money comes into play within your life. So if you think about it, what are some of those things that shaped your money story? What are the things that you went through as a child, a young adult? If you've been through college, what was that part of or that time of your life like? Because I know for a lot of us millennials, being in college, not having a job, not having a car, going party, going to do this, we found money to go party. We found money to go buy that vodka we needed. We found money to do the things that we wanted to do because we were resourceful individuals. And I believe we can still be resourceful by taking a look back into memory lane and seeing how did we utilize our money then, how did that shape how we view money now. And I can say personally for me that I'm currently on a drinking break simply because if I look at my credit card statement, my check statement, or my bank statement, I can very well tell you that though I had surgery last year, for the first 3 months I was not drinking, I can still guarantee I spent nearly two, maybe $3,000 on drinking alone, because that's just the kind of fun I like to have. And it became one of those things of let's get real for a little bit. Like, how can we still enjoy ourselves, enjoy our time, without spending on things that provide us no memory, essentially? So that's one of those things where I take a step back, like, I can drink a little bit. I can have like one drink. So my thing now is I'll have one glass of wine if I decide to have a drink. Or I'll go buy a bottle of wine and have it at my house. So making those type of decisions in the moment to be able to adjust your money mindset and adjust your mindset, quite frankly. Some things are worth spending the money on. So by all means, like, if it's an event and I just definitely want a drink, I'll have one. But I'll now limit myself to that one drink versus the 4 drinks I would have had way back when. So it's just taking that time to kind of like reflect on history, reflect on the things that you've done in your life, that you've done before, and how can those things modify where you are now? What are the things that you're looking to do and to accomplish to be able to get to where you are or to get to where you want to be? So for me, I can honestly say that seeing my mom successfully take care of me and pretty much my whole family without looking sad or ever feeling hurt behind money not being there has shaped me to have like a strong mindset with money, because while we didn't personally talk about money, seeing her be able to kind of like do those things and work her job and still take care of everything, even to now, to having her really nice house and doing the things that she wants with her house, still being able to travel, all of that matters. So taking the time to put it into your education and your habits and the things that you do, it makes a difference. So I challenge you all to kind of like take a step back, not even just on a like I need to figure out a plan right now, but just on a reflective moment. Like, what are some things that may have like caused you to spend the way you spend? What are some things that may trigger you to not spend? What are the things that you are holding on to that like have just like warped your mind financially? Take a look at those things and think about how they are currently affecting you in this moment when it comes to your finances. And I'm sure it's not something you want to unveil, because us folk never want to talk about finances or money or the things that we have going on. However, it is 2026. It's time to get your stuff together. However that may be and whomever you may talk to, it is time to now get serious. So take a look at your money story and see how that affected your finances, or how it currently affects your finances. And it doesn't have to just be from your childhood. It could be from your adolescent. It could be from your young adult years. It could be now, quite frankly. You could be going through things now that are shaping how you feel financially and how you utilize your money and how you feel about your money. So think about that. Some money stories also show up as overspending. Just spending recklessly, spending because you think you got it, or spending because that credit card's available, or spending because they're sending you that weekly check or that monthly cashier's check. You're doing things out of the fact that you don't have it, so you want to spend it, or when you do have it, you want to spend it all, because why not? You're in that joyful mindset of, because I have it, I want to spend it. And nothing's wrong with spending, but it's spending comfortably. If you don't have the money to spend, don't spend it. If you can't account for it within 3 to 6 months, it's not yours to spend. If you can't make up for what it is that you're spending, if you decide to put it on a credit card, let's not spend that. So just taking the time to kind of like thoroughly think about some of those big transactions or some of those careless transactions. So for me, one of the things that I like to do is if I'm an online shopper by heart. I literally hate shopping in a store. So I will create a cart of all the things that I think I want just because why not? Sometimes I'm bored and I want to online shop. I'll create a cart and I may go on that same website nearly every day for a week and then I forget about the cart. And then something will come up and I'm like, oh, I need to order XYZ clothes or I need to order for an event. And I go and I'm like, oh, I don't even want any of these things anymore. So that's one of the ways that I decide not to overspend on clothes or on shopping. Another way of money stories showing up is your fear of investing. And I believe a lot of people lack the concept of storing money to the side or storing money for a rainy day, for retirement, and for your later part of life. And investing is one of those things where you do not have to be a know-it-all to do. There are so many platforms out here that assist you with figuring out what investments work for you. Figuring out if you are at risk or risk adverse or if you're willing to take the risk. The younger you are, the more riskier you should be. Once you hit your 40, I'm not even say 40, once you hit your 50s, I think you should become more risk adverse and dial that back a little bit. However, I do believe that everyone should be investing in some way, shape, or form. If you have a 401k, that's a part of investing. If you have, you could open a money market account or a Roth IRA or an IRA. You could open a brokerage account. Robinhood has them. So many different platforms now have investing options to where you could just pick one stock and put your money in it. You could pick safe stock options. Excuse me, I can't talk. You could pick safe stock options where they're going with the market or they're going with the S&P 500. So while you may not know all of those terms and be able to fluently be able to call out every little thing, you can find something with a dividend. And I believe that is the safest thing that I can ever tell anyone. If I don't know what to invest in, which one of these got a dividend? A dividend at some point is always going to pay you. And that gives you either you get the money back or you get to reinvest it into that stock. I do the automatic reinvestment, which is the DRIP dividend reinvestment program, where whatever cents, pennies you earn from that particular investment, it goes back into that investment. And it just continues. And now you hold more and more shares of that particular investment because you're reinvesting the funds back into the account, back into that particular investment. That's an easy way to invest. Another one is avoiding bank accounts or credit. And it's so many people that I know who are scared of credit. And you shouldn't be scared of it. You should just learn more about it. Bank accounts. If you don't have a bank account at this age, I believe either you've ruined your credit that no one will touch you or you're a scammer. And at this point, even scammers have bank accounts. So I wouldn't even go as far to say that. But it could be that you grew up in an older household and that they believe that money should be stored in the house, in a safe, under the mattress, somewhere safe. And if that's the case, that's perfectly understandable. However, it is not the safest thing ever. Money does burn. It is a burning resource. It's paper. So if anything were to happen, you can't get collateral back on that. You can't say that you had $25,000 sitting in your mattress. If a bank burns up, you still have your $25,000. So look at it in that manner to where you can utilize it and use it for your benefit. At some point, you're going to need something that's going to require credit, that's going to require some type of collateral backing. And a bank can assist you with that, albeit that you've built history with them. They see that you make your deposits regularly. They see that you have an overdraw on your account. They see that you have bills coming out regularly. They see your transaction history to be able to know whether you're a liable investment for them to invest back into. And that's pretty much what credit is. Are you trustworthy? Can I allow you to borrow this money and to know that you're going to pay it back? So taking the time to do your research. Find a bank that suits you. Find a bank with limited or no fees. There's so many of them on there. Find an online bank to where if it's a savings account that you're wanting to open and you don't really know if you want to put all your money in one basket or have super access to it, online banking is a thing. Transfer it there. And lastly, awareness is the first step. So taking that time to reflect and be aware of how the things that you've done, saw, and experienced shape your money mindset. So nothing changes until you're able to name it. So until you're able to call it out and say, hey, I have a bad experience with credit because my mama put the light bill in my name for 6 years and didn't pay it. So now TXU will never give me lights. That's a very reasonable reason. So how do I change that mindset? How do I do that? I now have to figure out how to get TXU to trust me again. I now have to rebuild my brand so that I'm reputable. I now have to make those decisions to ensure that no one ever sees me in that way, that I'm not valuable or that I'm not able to pay bills, because I'm able to pay my bills because that's the person that I am. I never want to be in that predicament again. So look at all of those things. Take a step and see. Or if you were one of those people who didn't have money all the time, you have that the mindset to where you don't like spending because you have that scarcity mindset. Figure out why. What's your reason? Do you still have a reason to be scarce? Do you not have a paycheck coming in? Do you not have a savings account in case anything happened? Do you not have a retirement account in case anything happened? Do you not have a brokerage account? Do you have a backup resource to your resource? Is there something that's going to be there in the event that something happens to you? Do you have life insurance? Do you have health insurance? Asking yourself those questions to be sure that you're prepared, so that you don't have a scarcity mindset, so that you're not scared to spend what you make. Because while money burns, it doesn't die with us. You can't take it to the grave with you. So I'm not saying spend it all up because it's your last days. However, utilize it in the best way possible. Build a healthy relationship with money so that money builds a healthy relationship with you. It's a two-way street. You earn it, you receive it, you spend it. How you spend it depicts how you feel about it. So take a thought on that and check your money facts. Check your money history. How do you feel about money? How does money feel about you? And that concludes our conversation on Financial Freedom Savers. And we will be back next Thursday, same time at 7 p.m. And the topic for next week is going to be, drum roll please, how to choose the right financial goal and how to stick to it. See you soon.